All right, I think we're on to go live. Mikey, good morning.
Salute to you, Vinnie, and to all our
Salud.
watchers and listeners. And happy St. Patrick's Day to all you part-time Irish people. All you. I guess alcoholics used to call New Year's Eve amateur night. I don't know what they call St. Patrick's Day when people
Amateur
line up.
day.
Yeah, because you start drinking hard stuff by noon, you're pretty much
Oh,
finished for the. You know that feeling.
all too well. Now, when you were, see, we got two phases of St. Patty's Day. There's the St. Patty's Day when we were younger and more foolish, and then there's the St. Patty's Day when you're older and you are much more foolish.
That's
So,
right. You walk around showing your foolishness. Every step you take is as evidence that you had been a fool, and with the right permission or conditions, you can be a fool again.
well, St. Patty's Day usually gives you the permission, doesn't it? I mean, I see people get drunk and do things on St. Patty's Day that normally, it's very akin to New Year's Eve that normally they wouldn't do.
I'll tell you something about a producer of mine in San Francisco whose name will go unmentioned at this time. We went to a bar out on the avenues after the 6 to 10 show was over because we'd be invited to join them for their St. Patrick's luncheon of
Ah,
expertly prepared corned beef and all the things that you'd expect a good Irishman to be eating in San Francisco on St. Patrick's Day, which makes the Irish people of Ireland laugh up their sleeve. But anyway, we show up. I might have had a few beers during the show. I can't explain how that happened, but it could have been the case. And we show up, and before they're served luncheon, the unnamed producer is down in the bathroom. She's had Bailey's cream, whatever it's called.
Bailey's Irish Cream. I have a
Oh,
bottle
geez,
somewhere here.
geez. Well, she made quick. It tasted like like a milkshake, and that was the end. That was the end of the party. I never did get lunch. Had to put her over my shoulder and take her take her out of there.
Uh, I've had a I've
It's what
I've had a
happens.
couple of those. I don't know that I ever got that sick on St. Patty's Day. I have gotten pretty drunk on St. Patty's Day, and one time I actually had to wind up going to the hospital
Oh,
uh,
what did you do?
because I had to have my gallbladder. I had gallstones,
Wow.
and
Aaron go gallstone.
yeah, Ringo gallstones, and it you're drinking, and so you're not feeling it like you really should. But this one pierced through the alcohol and whatever
Oh
else
yeah.
was in it, and I mean right up to Beth Israel.
That pain
And
wakes you up and makes you a believer.
yeah, yeah, and into the emergency room, and that night they removed my gallbladder, and
What did they do with it? Is what I want to know.
what did they look at you weird when you ask them for the organs that they take out. Like I wanted when they took out my thyroid,
Yeah.
I asked them if I could have the thyroid. Keep
What
it
did they say?
keep it in John. He says, no, we can't do that.
That's
Well,
medical waste.
why? I mean, it's my thyroid. You don't own it. You just removed it.
And you don't really want it. I mean, you didn't take it out because you wanted one like mine. So
Right.
what's
You're
the
gonna
point here?
culture it. Now I remember several years ago, you remember Jeff Nelson,
Yes.
the fine pitcher for the Mariners and the Yankees, and former Issaquah resident, I believe.
I remember when I got to town, I said, that guy doesn't smile a lot. There's something going on in there.
Yeah. Well, he had bone chips taken out of his elbow, and he
Ouch.
kept the bone chips. And Softy over on KJR uh, tried to auction them off for
What,
charity,
what did he get for him?
and well, a lot of trouble, a lot of headache, because I
Ooh.
guess the terms of service on eBay say that you cannot auction off body parts.
You can't sell. I got a kidney, a liver, and a partial elbow construction. What am I offered?
What do I got here? And they were can't do that, and they pulled it down. I forget somebody I think stepped in and bought him for some ridiculous amount of money. um, like $10,000 or something.
Wow.
What do you do with it? I mean, what do you do? Do you sit them up on the? Okay, so he autographed the vial that they're in. I mean, I don't know. It was, but listen, it just it was another chapter in my book. People have too much freaking money.
It's true, and I mean, Softy tried to do the right thing, and I guess
Yeah.
Jeff Nelson did too, for that matter. So kudos to both of them. But I see that you can't sell body parts. You'd be surprised what it would lead to in this day and age.
Oh, I could you imagine? I mean, there would be people. I mean, there would. I mean, even what was it? How many years ago it was in New York City that they were finding people with their kidneys cut out and surgically done.
Oh yeah, well done,
Well done. Whoever
but
took that
gone just the
kidney knew what
same.
they were doing. They were like a
Yep.
medical school student or something. And you wake up and it's like you got a scar and it's stitched up and it's tied and everything. So, and boom, the kidney is gone and probably already in somebody else.
Working hard on somebody else who's drinking on St. Patrick's Day.
Don't you ask where you get a kidney? I mean, you need a kidney. Okay, I'll be back in a half hour. Okay, here's the kidney. Can you
Now
put it in?
don't go anywhere, my dear.
Anything to get off of this dialysis machine. I'll do
Now,
anything.
if you're more of a collector, you like body parts, then that puts you into another category. You're almost a ghoul. Like you want Marjorie Taylor Greene's leg. Which one?
Oh,
It's got to be her
no,
left leg. It's got to be the left leg, or I'm not interested.
no, there's nothing there that I want. I can't imagine that what what's under her clothes looks any better than what's outside of her clothes.
I think what you see is what you get. What you're dealing with someone without many illusions to perform before our eyes.
Yeah, she can. You know, at least Lindsey Graham makes an effort to look good. He coughs his hair and
A
quaffs
man
his
puts
hair.
on a suit. He does, but you know
Puts on a
who
suit.
who's the best dresser, and I hate to admit it, but Mitch McConnell's got the best wardrobe of all the senators we've seen. Without a doubt, he has the best suits and tie combinations. Senators have a surprising habit of dressing like they're a salesman at a mattress outfit or something. It amazes me that they've gone that far in life without picking up any hint on how to put together their wardrobe when they're going to be on television and speaking before the U.S. Senate.
Don't
And
they
very
have butlers or don't they have like I don't know, what would you call it, a coachman? That no, that's the guy that drives the coach. But well, I mean, isn't there some kind of Mister French, some kind of butler, somebody to help them
now
make
you
their
could.
clothes decisions?
Yes, that's a good point. If you don't have any common sense, you can purchase some with someone by using someone else's good sense, who's the person like the creation of Jeeves, the butler,
Yeah.
who when Bertie Wooster came back from the south of France, he purchased a couple suits over there without permission from Jeeves, and he had to lose them at the cleaners. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, we won't be wearing those." But
Remember,
Bert, I just bought that beautiful suit. It was the one with the stripes and the. Yes, sir, I know.
remember before Google, there was Ask Jeeves.
Yes,
I
I never asked him anything. The poor guy.
don't think I did either.
I feel
Uh,
terribly now. I had an opportunity to ask Chief something, and I neglected it.
I don't know how they. I don't know if they just had a bunch of people sitting in a room with a lot of books, or
And they're all of them are Jeeves. Jeeves, this one's for you. Well, we're all
Jeeves.
named Jeeves. It's for all of us.
Well, it's funny because I posted a picture the I don't know, yesterday or the day before or something with from the old studio at KJR,
Yeah, I saw
and
it.
I pointed out that there were no computers. We had one computer was outside in the sports pit, but when you needed to know something, you had to look it up. You either had to know it or you had to look it up.
And you had to know where to look it up because the books weren't saying, I'm in here.
Right. You had to know. And after a while, you got good at it. You got good at knowing what was in what book and everything. I mean, it was fairly easy. Obviously, the NFL was in the NFL stuff, but, it, that's what always amazed me about Gasman is, I remember watching his show one afternoon, just sitting in there with him, and I think he went to the books once the entire time I was in there, and people were, peppering him with questions, but he knew, the guy knew his stuff.
It's amazing how sports reporters or sports talk show hosts are divided into two classes. One who knows everything and has got him in his head and is smart enough to know that he has to look it up to give you the right answer. And then the one who doesn't care what the right answer is just that's the professional blowhard, who, of course, in every
Yeah.
situation will be counted upon to blow hard.
Yes, they don't call him blowhards. Just like when you ask Jeeves, you talk to a guy named Jeeves because he's Jeeves.
He's Jeeves.
And
He's
Jeeves
earned
should
it.
know everything.
He knows.
But
He knows what happened to that suit, but he's not going to tell Bertie.
he's not telling anybody. He's just keeping it because that's the butler's job, right? Is to not,
Right.
to witness whatever goes on,
And to dress as gentlemen
but
in a
not
style.
say anything.
That's right.
I mean, now I wonder if Trump has a butler.
No, and that's because you have to pay them in some way. Even feed. Also, you have to feed them.
Yeah. Yeah, the Big Macs would never get past the boss, and the check would bounce every week.
Someone described Trump as having the diet of a 17-year-old. He never evolved past, I love a burger. Well, Donald, I love a burger too, but you have to learn to eat Chateaubriand. You have to sit at your desk and know which spoon, fork, and knife to use. You have to be a gentleman in society, or else when the people of New York start to laugh at you as they do now, they'll have less reason if you know what fork to use. The obvious thing about Trump that amazes people is he has no social skills whatsoever. I mean, we've seen that video of him pushing the prime minister from Germany out of his way, and when he wanted to get his picture taken at the G7.
Yeah. Let's not even go down that road anymore because we'll wind up. It's supposed to be a fun Fractious Friday, and
I
the
brought
only
up
thing,
Trump.
the only thing that would, no, I think the only thing that would make me happy is if a news flash comes by here on my phone in the next 40 minutes or so that says they've indicted him, which many people say is coming. I'm not so sure.
Boy, they sure said it yesterday, didn't they? They just channel after channel.
Well, yeah, it seemed like today was going to be the day. I mean, they were doing profiles on what's the DA in New York's name? I forget now. Gibbs or
Alvin Bibbs or
Alvin Gibbs? Yeah, they were doing. I now know where Alvin Gibbs was born and how he was brought up and what schools he went to. And
his parents are actually very special people.
Yeah. No, he is a product of New York City, but in New York City that not a lot of people knew about because it was kind of in a section of Harlem that was not a ghetto. Not a said every time you go to Harlem and you saw news stuff in the 70s, it was all always about ghetto and about.
And Vinnie, I saw that last night too. And there was the street in Harlem that I never heard of when I lived in New York called Strivers Row.
Right.
Where the middle class black families that had it together were on their way out of Harlem. But the Gibbs family was very special in that they said, no, we're educators and we're educated ourselves, but we're going to live in Harlem so our son knows what it's like to grow up in New York and Harlem. That's going to be his home.
You got to give him credit for that, man. That's a wonderful thing. It shows a lot more nerve than a lot of white people had because they got in their cars and went to suburbia because they were afraid of black people moving in. We've talked about this many times before.
There's something about a kid that grows up in New York City. It doesn't matter if it's Queens or if it's Harlem. You got a special animal there. You got a kid who knows how to get on the subway and not get lost. You got a kid who knows from right and from wrong, knows who's dangerous, who's not, who knows what to do. He's the smart mouth kid. Hey kid, which way to the Carnegie Hall? He'll tell you.
Yeah. How do I get to Carnegie Hall? I'll rob somebody.
Practice. Anyway.
Well, yeah, when you grow up there, you have to learn to do things for yourself because there's not a lot of people that are going to help you. I mean, you'll get, if you have a teacher or something like that, but the average Joe in the street is walking by you
That's
unless you
right.
look like you're in trouble.
Right.
Then somebody will stop and help you. But, the simple stuff like where's this, where's that? Kid, get a map. You know, you have, it it beacons your curiosity. You want to know more. You need to know more because you need to survive.
And
That's the
you learn the trick of getting from Queens to Manhattan without getting lost. What train to take, what station to take, what's the difference between the local and the express? Where do I
right.
get off? What do I do when I get off? What's the exit you take when you get off? You're in a train station. There's a lot of ways out of a train station. There's tricks and like go all the way to the end of the station and use that stairway. That doesn't mean anything to somebody from LA.
Well, the great thing is they had the foresight in the subway system to put a little piece of tile with 39th Street that way, 40th
Yeah.
Street that way, or 41st Street because the stations are usually almost 2 blocks long. So once you got the system down, once you figured it out, once you took that ride, I think it's a rite of passage. I don't know if kids do it today, but when I was a kid, one of the rites of passages is that you took a Saturday and maybe a few Saturdays, you got on the subway and you rode all over the place. And you rode uptown, downtown, out to Brooklyn. You rode to the end of the line. You sat in the train, and you rode back on the same line. And you learned what was there. That's how I learned where things were in in Brooklyn, in the Bronx. Places that a 13-year-old would never know because you don't have much occasion to go there.
I went to the
But
end of the line once on the Broadway IRT, and I was hoping that I could just stay on the train and go back. And they said, "No, this one's out of commission. We're not taking this train anywhere. You got to catch the next train out of the station." That disappointed me. I wanted to stay on my train.
was that
I went,
so you were going north?
yeah, I went
Like for
north,
200, yeah, because the yard is there. So sometimes
way
they'll
the hell
take a train
north.
up to the yard. Yeah,
Right.
they let them out of the yard there at 207th and into the yard. But
How do you
you
get out of
know,
here? Catch the train,
yeah, the next one, not this one.
not this one.
But I mean, I used to ride. I used to go on Saturdays. Sometimes I go ride all day, just to see where
Everything
things
was.
were, where
Yeah.
everything was. And then you knew where East New York was. You also knew it was funny because you knew the neighborhoods because of the people that got on the subway when you were riding.
Yeah.
If you're riding through downtown Brooklyn or by Pierpont Street, Brooklyn Heights, and kind of nice looking, very well dressed people are getting on. As you get more into Brooklyn, into Bed Stuy and some of those areas, people aren't dressed as nicely. Maybe they're maybe they're tough looking. Maybe
Yeah.
they're weathered. They
Yeah.
look because they're more blue collar working people than they are, kind of and then you get out to Canarsie or something like that. You get you go back to kind of the suburban moms and dads and
I
taking the
always
kids to
loved
Coney Island.
I always love coming into Times Square because it's huge. It's just a huge underground city of connecting trains and all the other every train that ever runs has to get to somehow that line has to get you to Times Square. And when you're get out of the train, you got to know where you're going because everyone's going and different this way, that way, up there, they're going through the tunnel, out there,
Yeah,
downstairs, quickly, follow me. Oh, be here.
yeah.
And
Nobody's sitting there waiting for you to go ahead of them. It's like
no,
get
they're
moving, kid.
going. They're moving to their connection. And it's, I would like to see what it would be like to see an underground rendition of Times Square Station because it's not one station; it's all these stations coming
Oh
together in
yeah,
one spot.
it goes from 8th Avenue to Port Authority all the way, over almost to like 42nd and 6th or something like that. All those stations are kind of intertwined with each other. Now, they did something at Times Square because when I lived in Jackson Heights, the end of the line on one end used to be Times Square, the 7 train. And the 7 train was the greatest train in the world. It went through all these different neighborhoods, and you had all different kinds of people getting on the train, getting off the train. And so now, a few years ago, they extended the 7 line to where now the last stop is Hudson Yards, which is that new development by the Javits Center and all of that
It's way
stuff. So
way on the
now,
west side.
yeah, it's 11, is it 11th Avenue? Yeah, I think it's 11th Avenue and 34th Street.
That's out there.
It's where the train yards used to be.
Oh,
Like
the
when they,
train. Yes, the train yards. Yeah,
yes,
the
like the train yards, and then and then it's also where the tunnel from New Jersey comes up and goes into those yards, because at one time they actually used to bring freight trains into New York City,
oh yeah, of course.
and uh, you know park them there, and then you had cold storage warehouses, and all different kinds of warehouses on the west side, which are now all lofts and $5,000 a month apartments.
But I got a business going here. Yeah, but we want people to live here. So, ooh, what a nice bedroom. That's my refrigerator. No, that looks like an apartment for four.
Yeah, you can we'll make it an apartment. You can take your business and go out to Jersey and
See,
truck the stuff in.
you're
But
gonna like Bordentown. You're gonna get a car and drive to work.
it's
Wow,
gonna be a beautiful
whoa.
thing. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love Pizza City. You're gonna be driving up Route 3 and stop at the hot dog stand. It'll be like nothing you've ate before.
And two pair of pants when you buy a suit out there.
Only at Robert Hall's.
And one other thing that happened to me on St. Patrick's Day is I used to play in a croquet tournament on St. Patrick's Day in San Diego out on Santa Clara Point. And it was a double elimination game that started early, went late, had the playoffs, and then we awarded a champion. And there was more chicanery, tomfoolery, and just plain madness on those croquet courts. By the way, croquet you would think would be a genteel game. It is not. It is a vicious, hurtful, dastardly invention of mankind.
Really?
Your poor ball gets sent everywhere. Anyone can hit your ball, not just you. And so the professionals come up, hit your ball. That means you get two strokes. They knock your ball ahead on the other side of the wicket, go through the wicket with the remaining stroke, come out the other side. Now they hit your ball again and get two more shots. Your ball is used and pulverized by me and the people after me because I leave it where other people can use it. And by the time it's your turn again, you have to go backwards, way through the wickets to find out where you belong because you hadn't gone through that first wicket yet.
Wow.
It's a vicious, demoralizing game.
Sounds like my kind of game.
Oh, you love it, especially when you're the one doing the demoralizing.
Yeah. The demoralizing thing always runs better when you're doing the demoralizing as opposed to being demoralized. There's something about that. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will someday.
And I remember one of the highlights was going into the public big bathrooms that are out there in a public beach type setting. And if you happen to be on mushrooms and go into those bathrooms for the first time, the echo combined with the actual physical sensations of urinating when you're on mushrooms is more than you can handle. People were in there saying, "Whoa!
So
this is insane!"
I had an experience like that once in the bathroom where you were just you were looking at the wonder of urinating.
It can be quite a surprise sometimes, folks. It can just sneak up on you.
The trickling of the water.
What are you going to do? It's magic, and it happens every day, but under certain circumstances, it becomes magic.
It's God's work.
Oh God!
It's God's work. God built you so you could pee.
That's true. He put all the plumbing right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's and especially on now when you were a kid, because I know San Francisco doesn't have its St. Patty's Day parade on
No,
St. Patty's Day. They you do it, I think, the Saturday before, the Saturday after. Did you go into the city and see the parade, or
never,
never?
never,
Huh?
never.
See, that was the thing for us, man. We always,
Well, that parade was one to see. The New York St. Patty's Day parade is is the day when everybody in New York is Irish, and they mean it.
Michael. I said that. I said that we went to the parade. I did not say that we saw the parade.
Oh, oh, that's so very sad. That's very sad.
We often went to the parade,
But something else arose in our way.
but we you know after at a certain age you don't go for the parade anymore. You go for the picking up the girls. We met one year. We went to the parade and we met uh, these girls that later became known as the Whitestone girls.
And a famous story told about them, I'm sure.
Oh, many stories about the Whitestone girls. There were many stories about the Whitestone
They
girls.
went to the parade and they didn't see it either.
No, no, no. I don't think that was the thing. If you look, if you see the parade going up Fifth Avenue, on one side is Central Park,
Oh,
and
there you go.
and then there's that little wall that they built, to, I guess, keep people out of the park at night. And I
Little
can tell you
boundaries.
from
It's
experience that there was more going on the other side of that wall than there was out there.
And history will show us that it's always been that way.
It probably has been. That wall wasn't built to keep people out. It was built to hide what people were doing. Um, but it was, yeah. I mean, we got our flasks or bottles, or, I mean, you haven't lived in. It's not St. Patty's Day until you've been standing outside of a liquor store at 9 o'clock in the morning, asking the
Yeah.
neighborhood alcoholic to go in and buy you a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 or Boone's
Now,
Farm apple wine.
now that should be the name of a car, don't you think? The Chrysler Mad Dog 2020.
It should be. It should be. Unfortunately, Mad Dog isn't celebrated as it should be. I mean, it's kept more people warm than probably than the fires. I mean, it's those cheap wines when you're growing up, man. That's all you got money for.
Fortified wine. Hey, Vinny, are you warm? I don't know. I,
I'll
I,
tell you when I finish
I,
this Bally High.
right now, I couldn't tell you.
But that was the staple of St. Patty's Day with cheap wine. And then, you drink that, you go into the city, somebody else would have some cheap wine. And by the time it was all over, and there was no such thing as, like, worrying about it. I mean, somebody hand you a bottle of wine, you just went,
There you go.
guy
In
could have
fact,
had scabies all over the place, but yeah, who
to wipe
cares?
it off is an insult to the individual, the gentleman who offered you the wine.
Yeah, yeah, you just drink it and don't worry about it. You don't know, nowadays, where his, oh my God, you have a paper cup? Nah, nobody was worried about that. But the parades are always fun. Um, I always knew somebody who was marching in the parade because either my father or my mother had some society friend from, the Gaelic Society or the New York City Cops. What do they call it? The Emerald Society of the Cops.
So there's Irish cops, are there?
Yeah, yeah, there's a few. There's a
Not
few.
not that you would notice, but if you ask, it's a secretive thing.
Well, it's funny because, I mean, growing up, most of the cops that I knew were Irish when I was a little kid, and then they they dropped the height requirement
Drop the
at one
height
point.
requirement.
Yeah, you used to have to be a certain height to be a cop.
Five
I
seven,
forget if it
right?
was 5'8" or 5'9" or something like that, but you had to have be a certain height to be
Why
a
do I have
cop.
to be? Yeah, why do I have to be tall? Well, trust me, it'll come in handy
It'll help
later.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And once they took that requirement away, it was interesting that how many people, because Italians, Spanish. There's a lot of short Italians and Spanish. But we don't grow like Irish people do.
So what do they drop the height to? 5'6", 5'5",
I don't
five
know that
four?
there's a minimum height requirement anymore. I think you take the test, and I think it's based just on the test. It would have to, because I've gone back to New York City and seen some cops that were small, man. I mean, like 5 feet, 5'1", 5'2", something like that. So I don't know that there's a minimum height requirement anymore.
Just learn your stuff. Get a partner who's big.
Yeah.
Be Mutt and Jeff.
Well, that's what they did in Police Academy, right? Didn't who was it that teamed up with Bubba? Was it Bubba Watson? It was no Bubba
Paris. No, Bubba. The
uh,
first
uh,
Bubba.
the big black guy. I can't remember his name.
He played for
Uh,
Dallas, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But he was in a couple of those films, and that's what the meekest, weakest guy teamed up with him.
And lucky to have him.
Damn happy to have him.
Not going to see a lot of trouble on the street when that's your partner.
No.
Now there's Goody and Muldoon as well, or what is it? Muldoon and Tootie, Gunther Tootie and somebody Muldoon. Car 54, where are you? Remember that one? Oh, Vinny's frozen. He's on his desk and he's frozen. We got to get help to him. We got to get a rescue dog out to Vinny. Send the St. Bernards. Vinny's stuck on his deck. Hello there, Vinny. Happy St. Patty's Day, Vin. Oh, here we go. Well, I told my St. Patrick's Day story. I'm out of material. And I'm the one that brought up Trump earlier, so that's not working. So what the truth is, I'm probably not broadcasting now, and Vinny is is doing the same thing I'm doing. So hello. I'll wait patiently for maybe 30 more seconds, and then I think our show is over for another day. We'll see you on a miraculous, morose Monday at this time. Oh, there I am. Am I live? Looks like I am. So Mikey and Vinny will return on Monday at 10:10. It'll be a morose, miraculous Monday. We'll have stories to tell about what happened to our St. Patrick's Day broadcast. Apparently, the engineer kicked the plug out. I don't know why he did that. He wouldn't. He'd never talk about it afterwards. The day he kicked out the plug on St. Patrick's Day, and the show will pick up at 10:10 on that day. Mikey and Vinny take on the world. Mikey and Vinny, entertainment and information that you can't find anywhere else.
I think we're back, Mikey.
He's back. Oh, I was just signing off.
I think we're back. I think I don't know we've been having internet problems here. Last night to this morning, it's been a crazy 12 hours.
Yeah, in fact, your emails this morning were not coming through because you referred to them and I didn't have them. Yeah,
emails not coming through and different odd stuff happening.
You know what? The other day I got a weird prompt on my phone that said it can't send this message, and it keeps telling me it can't send that message, and it sends all the other messages that I'm just texting to my sister, and I've never gotten that selective "we can't send this message" prompt. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, I keep getting, and this is really getting annoying. Actually, I keep getting messages from numbers that I don't know, stating I'm coming to visit you, or can I stay at your house? But they're from different numbers. They're not from just one number. So I figure it's some kind of scam.
Oh, it is. And all you have to do is click on it to be in trouble. You don't have to respond.
Yeah, I just delete it right away. Now, who knows? Maybe a long-lost cousin won't be able to get here. But if you're that, you have my number, call it.
That's right.
I
do the same thing. The phishing scheme that so many people are dealing with now is your Netflix account has been compromised. You can't sign into Netflix until you give us all your information. Your Amazon account, and then they'll try Amazon. Oh, your Amazon account is in trouble.
I got the Amazon one a couple of times. I got one from American Express that said your account has been compromised.
Your card's a mess. Only we can help you.
Yes.
But we'll need all your information. So get ready.
Yeah, it's the amount of of scams that are out there uh, is amazing.
That's the American dream. That's the new American dream is the internet scam.
I don't know. It's a scary world because you're trying to you're trying to take advantage of technology, and you look at this stuff and it's so badly done. All you have to do is read it, and
Yeah,
9 out of 10 times the English is so preposterous.
right. Right. And they're trying to be official. They're trying to sound official.
Yeah, yeah. The grammar is looks like it's written by Uncle Mush.
You know, we're in a world where you have one job and you can't do it, and that's it's like the world says. But you had one thing to do, just one, and you didn't do that. Like
Yeah.
The Russian pilot that ran into the drone, that wasn't his job. His job was to spray it with fuel, which I think is a pretty good. It's a pretty good trick. They've tried that before. Apparently, they know how to do that. You got to see a little drone coming into your neighborhood, have a jet fly over it and spray it with fuel, but not fly into it.
So do they spray it with fuel and then like pull up next to it and throw a match out? Is that the idea?
At that speed, usually throwing a match is not an option. You could
Yeah, it doesn't. It
give it a
doesn't seem
drive.
like it's a smart thing to do either way.
I think it's supposed to gum up the electronics, and then you don't send the signal back. They had a pretty good picture. You probably saw it. A pretty
Yeah.
good picture of the jets flying right
Oh
to
yeah.
the drone. But the job was to spray it, not to knock it out of the sky, and that's what caused the problem. So the Russians had to say, "We didn't do it. Well, here's the playback." Oh,
Well, it can't say they didn't do it too much. I guess I saw a news story where they awarded the pilots uh, distinguished service crosses or something this
they're going
week.
to send
Whatever.
them. They're going to send them to pilot schools so they can
Yeah,
fly in
they're
the air
gonna.
without running into their targets.
I don't know. I don't buy that they didn't know what they were doing. I know full. I believe fully they knew what they were doing. Listen, they're trying to get us into a war. It's
There's
really kind
war,
of that simple.
and who on this planet is right now in the middle of a story that proves that war's not working for them?
Well, the Russians, yeah.
Yeah, and they think that I got a great idea. I know a way out of this. What? War.
Well, the problem is they seem to have the Chinese president on their side, and
Well, I think he's got weakness too. He needs somebody on his side as well.
yeah, and I think that I don't know. It just seems to me like we're coming to this place where it's going to be us, the United States and Europe, Western Europe against them, China and Russia, and probably the nitwit in North Korea. And
I just don't think that I don't think that Putin, as much as that idea looks great on paper, hey, we'll just have an alliance. No one will mess with us. You can't talk sense to a madman. It's like joining an alliance with Donald Trump. It's like joining an alliance with any idiot. Uh, he thinks that the rules and the agreement and the text that he just signed to make him safe for the next century is just garbage anyway. No, you can't
yeah,
make an alliance with a madman.
yeah. I mean, yeah. If history has shown us anything, again they go back to the. There's been a lot of talk of Neville Chamberlain over
Oh
the
yes,
past few days because there's some people that want to appease Putin. Let him have the Ukraine. What do we care? But those are usually uh, Republicans that are running for president. Um,
uninformed nimrods from Arkansas or Florida or someplace else.
yeah, from somewhere down there. Yeah, there's there's a load of insanity going on, and
Nimrod or me. You know what? Nimrod or to be a Nimrod is to be
Nimrod
Nimroded, I guess. There's an entire atmosphere of Nimrod potential.
of Nimrodatry. Nimrod
That's better than Nimrodery.
Nimrodery.
The act of being a Nimrod.
That's Nimrodacious. Oh no,
There you
that's
go.
trying to be a Nimrod is being Nimrodacious.
And failing. But that's the
Terrible.
thing with the Nimrod. Nimrod's never bothers them a bit when they do it wrong. When they get
They don't know.
they get the wrong end of the stick, and they're happy with it.
They don't know. I mean, the best excuse for stupidity is stupidity.
How come you're so stupid? I never
Because I'm
learned
stupid.
anything.
Yeah, I never learned anything. I was in a different place at a different time.
I was a kid. I never knew how to get to the city from Queens. I
Yeah,
should have known, but I didn't know.
should have followed Vinnie onto the train. Maybe I would have learned something.
Right out the furthest I ever rode the train, by the way, was out to Fort Hamilton to take my physical.
Ah, yes, Fort Hamilton, 95th Street and 4th Avenue.
That's out there.
That's out there. It's not the longest line, but it's in competition with the longest line. It's uh, you at that time were right in the middle of Bay Ridge, which is
And after we took our written test, the sergeant said to me, "Look, I know what you're doing. You took your first test, you got them all right. You took your second test, you got them all wrong. That's not going to work with us. The test where you have to match the screwdriver with the screw, that's just pictures."
yeah. You decide
that.
which me you want.
I got that one all wrong. Then the ones using actual English, I got them all right. And they said, "Well, this doesn't look. We know what you're doing.
Yeah,
we know what we're doing.
We know what you're doing. Listen. We got a room full of guys in dresses next door. We know what's going.
I saw them. They were lovely.
Guys showing up in drag so they can get out. Yeah.
But you got to see the doctor to get the letter to get out of the draft.
Oh my God, we had Gomer Pot. We had a guy when I went for my physical. We had a guy that looked exactly like Gomer Pyle. I mean, this guy was
delighted to be there.
He just looked like Gomer Pyle. Golly, Shazam!
We're going to be in the Army. This is going to be something.
But I tell you, he's the one guy that I met that I had run into up until that time. They always have trouble getting blood out of me. For some reason, my veins, when it sees the needle, goes the other way. It's happened to me all my life. I mean, you go with the needle, they think they got a vein, but it just eludes them. This guy, man, for the first time in my life, we looked at my arm, he tapped it once, sunk the needle in, and blood started coming out.
Oh, he was a visionary.
And I was like, damn. Can I come back to you the next time? Because usually, 3 or 4 sticks and they're running it in there like a stick shift. Find first gear, second gear, third gear.
We'll find it.
But that's what I remember about him. That he told me that I couldn't get the Navy, which bothered me immensely.
Because of your blood condition?
No. Because of my ankles. Because of I was born with club feet, and once you have that operation, even if you don't have the operation, they look at you and say, you're not going to make it going up and down the gangways.
All right.
Of ships. And believe it or not, I protested.
Let me in. Wee-hoo.
Yeah, I really wanted to go. I really wanted to go to the Navy for a couple of years and learn something, get my college education paid for. Who knows? So they put me in a room in Fort Hamilton, which is the review room. And so
review.
All of those guys that were dressed like girls are in this room, and everybody in this room is looking to get out, except for me. I'm the only guy that's looking to get in.
And they're immediately suspicious. Put this guy in the room with the ladies.
Yeah, what's wrong with this guy? And the dude told me, he says, well, maybe you can try the Army, but I doubt they'll take you either.
Wow.
He says, your ankle is just, because my ankle is fused together. He says, we just, no military service is going to take a chance on you. Because, wow. In war, you could fracture that thing or, I don't know, they gave me a myriad of reasons why.
But if you were an officer, you can just send other people to war.
Yeah. I said, well, can I start with a desk job? Like right up, I don't have to go to basic training. You could just put me in a desk job and I'll be cool with it. I'm good. Nah, it don't work like that.
Doesn't work like that.
You got to go through the 8
The meat.
weeks, I think, or 12 weeks of basic training. I think it was 8 weeks at the time for the Navy.
It was the Marines have the longest training.
Yeah, I think they're 14 weeks.
There were some Marines that were so. I worked with a guy named Gunny. He'd been a gunner sergeant in the Marines, and he said there are some Marines that are so gung ho that they won't salute our officers in the Army because it's
Yeah,
just like he's in the Army. Why would I salute him? He's not a Marine. He's not going where we're going. He's not doing what we're doing. He's never going to do it. And he's never going to, no matter what, how many stars and bars he's got, he's still never going to be what we are because we're the Marines. We're different.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
the first one. We're the first ones in. The last ones out. What do you do?
Very true. My brother was a Marine, and many of my friends went into the Marines. That was the place to go in those days. And
If you were equal to the task,
if you were nuts, I
yeah.
really think I think you had to be nuts to be a Marine because it was definitely different than any other branch of the service. Uh,
So we're through with basic training here with the Marines. We're probably not going to see much action. He says, "Well, obviously you weren't reading the book. Didn't you read the pamphlet? We go
yeah,
first. We go first."
it was yeah. Everyone that I met, and I've been down at Camp Lejeune, and I've been down to Quantico, and a bunch of places, and been out to the now closed MCAS at El Toro. Um, is just a different breed of person. I got a lot of respect for them.
Oh,
Uh,
you
I,
have to.
I really do. I mean, they will do things that I don't know that I'd have the balls to do.
And my advice is don't call a Marine unless you intend to deal with the Marines when they get there, because when you call a Marine, you're going to get a Marine, and that's
And his buddies,
a highly trained fighting machine.
yeah,
Coming in,
and his buddies,
not coming into direct traffic, okay?
yeah. It's a higher calling of service. And listen, I love the Navy. My father served in the Navy in the South Pacific. He was injured there. We've always been one of the dearest treasures I have in my life is his Navy uniform hat that I keep, close to me. And but yeah, the Marines just they had a thing, man.
And plus,
Probably.
they had the best uniforms.
Well, yeah, they had great uniforms. Although I don't know, I mean, I kind of like the Cracker Jack. I thought that was a kind of a cool uniform. I love the bell bottoms,
Yeah.
bell bottom trousers, coats of navy blue. She loves a sailor, and he loves her too.
Well, that's what he said. He said he'd be back.
He said he'd be back. Yes.
I met him at the parade right there by the wall in Central Park.
He was coming by, and I fell backwards. I fell off of that wall many a time, more than once. Oh man!
And that wall goes that wall. I don't know where they got the stone for it, but it remains unchanged, and it goes all around the park. And
Yeah,
that the perimeter of the park is I mean, it's not a walk. To walk it would take you half the day.
well, it goes from 59th to 110th, and then
Across and
across
down.
from 5th to Central Park West, which is really an extension of 8th Avenue, I believe. Well, 8th or 7th. 7th Avenue, I believe, is Central Park West.
You know,
So
the last time you and I were driving around the city, this was when we were in New York for the Mariners and the Yankees. We came back. It's the only time I saw Central Park North. We were driving through, and the Pope was in town, if you remember. And
right, right.
we were there, and the Pope's in-house home, wherever he lives when he's in New York, lights were on, and the cops were everywhere. And
Oh,
Central Park,
he was staying at St. Patty's, I believe. He was staying at the what do you call it? The rectory at St. Patrick's. Because we weren't staying far from where he was, right?
I can't remember where we
I'm
stayed.
trying to remember. I thought we stayed in Midtown.
Midtown. We did at a Holiday Inn or something.
Oh no, we stayed on 34th Street. We stayed at a Howard Johnson's.
There
on
you go.
34th Street. It took me a couple minutes to remember this, but yeah, it used to look. It was an ex Fleabag hotel that they put a coat of paint on, and the rooms were like jail cells. I mean, if you opened the door, you'd hit the dresser. You know, I mean, it was that small.
I
Um,
remember I stayed with my friend Penelope Bodry, and I was down on Spring Street in Soho.
yeah,
And I had a cab driver at 5 in the morning trying to get to use to do the show. We're on our way, and he had no idea where West Street was. Says, just go up West Street to the west side to get to 34th. And he said, "Where's West?" I said, "Okay, okay. I'm telling you, here we go. It's
you
right
know,
over here."
if you know two streets in New York, you got to know West Street. You got to know South Street. You
Well, he
know, I
didn't know
mean,
West.
South Street is under the FDR Drive. West Street is under the West Side Highway.
Nope, it was a complete mystery to him, and he thanked me. He thanked me for the for a ride around New York. I said, would it be better if I just drove?"
You're a savior. And we were at the Fan, right? That's where we were doing our show
Yes,
from.
right,
When the Fan used to be on in Astoria at
right,
Kaufman Studios.
exactly.
Of course, I'm trying to think. Who did we? Yeah, that's right. We went to, which I should have stayed in Astoria. I mean, I didn't even, there wasn't that many places to stay there. Now you go to Astoria, Long Island City, there's hotels all over the place. Um, and nice ones.
Yeah, that
Back
was a
then,
transition period.
yeah, there was one motel on 21st Street, and
You
they,
didn't want to stay there,
basically charged by the hour.
and
Uh,
they had a booming business.
but they only changed the sheets by the week, and it wasn't. What's that?
This is what we got. You want to sleep or what?
What's that? You want to try to find some one of those foil blankets to put over so nothing gets through. I said, you got some diseases here. You ain't got a penna that can fight this. You ain't got a penna. You ain't got a cillin that can fight this stuff. So you gonna have corned beef today, Mikey, or what?
Probably not. Corned beef really doesn't suit me anymore. I don't know why. I just don't care for it. I don't drink beer anymore, so that's the end of that. Well, I don't drink anything that has liquor in it anymore. I had my share of it.
Yeah. Oh no. I listen. I'm feeling you. I know exactly what. I don't. I hardly. I mean, I hardly drink at all anymore, man. And I'm Italian, so I should drink at least a glass of wine or something
A
like that.
glass of
But
wine.
I'm taking so many freaking medicines that I just don't know how alcohol is going to react with them all.
That's a good point. And
You
you
know,
don't find out till it's too late.
right? And I don't want to find out on the way to the hospital. I had one bad reaction to something once, and I checked out of life for 3 months. So we'll.
That was weird. I remember the call from your sister.
Yeah.
I was at a hockey game in Wenatchee.
Wow. Yeah. It was.
I just left.
Yeah. It was. It
Walked
was
home.
weird. It was weird, but so as much as I can, don't. Every once in a while, I'll have a lemon drop or something like that. But the heavy drinking days are done.
Well, it's for someone who can take a fall.
Yeah,
Get
you know
up,
that.
get up. We got things. We got places to go. Look at your mess.
I was lucky. I wasn't a falling down drunk, but when I start, I don't. It's not like I have one drink and you'll be. It's like all of a sudden I'm there. So
That's your Irish side meeting your Italian side halfway.
that is exactly what it is. That's exactly. I think that's sometimes I say, well, my mother would be proud. My grandfather on my mother's side, Parr, would be proud.
And disgusted. Look at you.
And well, he came home from work every night and had
Highball.
his whatever it was. Yeah, highball. He had sat there and watched the Yankee games and got blitzed. And
I don't know how they ever came up with the idea of a drink being a highball, but it's a great description of it. High and hard. Whoa.
Well, they used to, I mean, I remember when I was young, that's what they used to call. See, I always thought highballs were creamy cocktails. like the stuff that was made with
like
some
a
heavy
Manhattan.
cream or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I always thought a highball was. But I guess it really can be used for any drink, right?
A tall glass with ice, fill it with vodka, bourbon, whatever your Scotch, whatever the case may be. A little mixer if you like it, none if you don't. There's your highball.
There you go. Because when you ball this thing down, you're going to get high.
Damn true.
Yeah,
And
no, I
don't,
just
don't and don't lean into it. Don't lean into that because Bob Gibson is pitching.
yeah. No, I go with fruit juices now.
Yeah, me too.
Give me a good watermelon juice.
Now that's what Kristen drinks. She's a freak for watermelon
I
juice.
love watermelon juice. I love what. And didn't Kristen just celebrate a birthday?
Yesterday, for 14th.
Ah, that's right. She's the day after my sister. No,
Right.
today's the 17th. Yesterday was the 16th. 14 was like 3 days ago, Michael. Did you
Close
get
enough.
her anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
close enough.
Just check it. Maybe you
In
forgot. I
fact,
don't know.
in fact, that was the day we were called on for emergency grandparent duty.
Ah, well, that's a good way to celebrate a birthday.
That's a good way to celebrate your life.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty good calling. I uh, I don't know if I'm ever going to be a grandparent. I don't know if my kids are going to have kids or not. I don't know. I don't know if she's going to get married. I mean, who knows?
Well, it sure changes everything in a very unexpected way. It was like uncharted waters. It was like the only thing I wanted control of was my name. I didn't want to be a grandpa, and I've told that story before. So
Yeah,
I became
yeah,
the Commodore because Kristen, of course, was born in Hawaii, and over there, everybody's your tutu.
yeah.
Your tutu grandmother, your tutu auntie tutu, auntie grandmother. You got all these people in your family that are close to you that may be relative, maybe not be relative, but they're your tutu. And so Kristen, as her mother was before her, is the tutu. Kailani, my daughter, got her name from Kristen's heritage in Hawaii, and so the name tutu is awarded to the eldest female in the family. So she had a great name. She didn't have to be grandma. She was going to be tutu.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll be damned if I'm going to be grandpa and tutu. That's so I just gave myself another name and became the Commodore. And that's all the
I
kids
love it.
know. Those kids don't know my real name.
I
You
love it.
know, I picked up Bo at school once. Bradley Knight Musha picked him up at school once. His time for twos, and the person there didn't know me. And I said, "Well, I'm the grandfather." And she said to Bo, "Is this your grandfather?" He said, "No, it's the Commodore."
Did they call the police at that point, or?
No, they had heard about the Commodore.
Oh man, yeah. And Michael, enjoy every minute of that. As you know, they grow up much too fast. I I go down and I see my godson down in Sacramento because I think he's probably as close as I'll get to being a grandfather. And it seems like yesterday I had taken him out and was playing catch with them in the park, and now he's 15 years old, man.
He's a
And
player
like,
though, right?
and
He's
he's a
got
player,
talent.
yeah, he's got talent, and he's but not just talent. He's a worldly kid. It's amazing
Yeah.
how worldly. He knows stuff and does stuff that I didn't dream of doing at 15 years old. I was a slug. I was out hanging out drinking Mad Dog 2020 out of a cup. And this kid is like he's got game, man. Not just physical game. He's got like mental game too.
That's good for him. What's his name?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Daniel, and he's this kid's gonna go places. He can take you to a Thai restaurant and order food for you that you've never eaten before,
That's good. I'll go to Thai
or he can
restaurant.
take you home and cook it.
Whoa.
Which for a
Now.
for a 15-year-old, I mean that's something.
That's great.
Yes, I'm very proud of him. Very very proud of him. His parents have done such a wonderful job with him. Um, and he's just a good, smart. I think he plays on varsity basketball, varsity baseball, and he carries like a 4.0 grade point average.
Too smart for the room. I love it.
I think he is. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think he is. And he's got great parents. His mom is genteel, and his father's a brain. So between the two, it actually works out pretty nice.
Hard to see how he would turn out wrong. You see, that's the trouble with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I hate to bring her up again, but that's someone who thinks she's smart. She's come up with this idea on her own. She's generated it from within, and it satisfies her. It pleases her. It gives her feelings of belonging, and she has a purpose in life. The fact that she's totally wrong from the first step never occurred to her because she's not smart. She just says she is. She just thinks she is. And we're
Well,
dealing with a lot of people like that right now who have come to the conclusion that they've got the answer, even when they never really understood the question.
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you hit the nail on the head of what's wrong with this country is that there are too many people that think that their opinion is the smartest opinion in the room, and they're not willing to learn. They're not willing to look at something and say, "Well, maybe he was right."
It's something that doesn't occur to the chattering classes. A politician right now, all they have to do is keep talking. Never mind the question. Never mind the fact that you got it wrong. Never mind that you were wrong from the beginning. Never mind that you've finally been caught at being wrong. Just keep talking and blame the other person. You probably come to notice that whatever Vladimir Putin says, the truth is the opposite.
Yeah,
Whatever Donald Trump says, you just simply turn it around, and you've got what he really meant.
and they know it, and they use it to their advantage.
They do know it. Well,
It's amazing to me how gullible people will be. I mean, listen, I don't profess to be a genius or anything like that, but if somebody sends me something on an email, or I see something on Facebook, I usually, most times, unless I know the source, at least go back and start to research it a little bit. And I don't just think automatically something is something because somebody posts it.
I learned the hard way to check the date on a news story on the internet.
Yeah,
What's the date? What's the date on that? Oh, that was 2 years ago. Never mind.
yeah. Well, how many times do you look at your Facebook feed and somebody puts something? Oh my God, I didn't think this guy was alive. Well, you were right. He wasn't alive. He died 2 years ago. But you ran into the story. So did anybody tell you Kennedy's dead?
I know. You see a lot of that. I didn't know he was dead, but he's been dead quite a while.
Yeah. I mean, I don't expect people to see. I don't expect people to know everything. But now that we have this wonderful tool at our disposal, where you can just pick up your phone. It's funny. You'll be sitting in a bar, and somebody will say, "Oh well, the ERA leader in 1968 was Bob Gibson," and there'll invariably be somebody else. Oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. It was Mickey Lolich, and they'll go through and all of a sudden they'll go to their phone. But you could have the same person say, "Well, President Trump says that we have to do this," or President Biden says that we have to do this, and they'll never pick up their phone
No,
to see if it's right.
it ain't right.
Maybe we ought to have the people that write baseball reference write the history reference.
Well, yesterday Trump accused the DA in New York of being a product of George Soros, where the two
Yeah.
probably have never met. But it's a buzzword that the right wingers use to degrade and identify someone as the enemy.
Well, that's what woke has turned into, and uh,
What a pitiful state of affairs.
yeah, I mean that's and you're going to see every Republican um, campaign on it this year because it. My theory is this is just my theory is there's a lot of liberals that aren't exactly happy with the woke thing either. There's a lot of people that are, now woke is used overblown, I think, but there's a lot of people who I know that are liberals, and they're like, yeah, I mean, you get one chance, you get canceled if you say something, one thing wrong. How can that be? That depending on the circumstances, obviously.
If you're a
Uh,
public figure, you get one shot. You can't say,
yeah,
"Oh, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? I don't know any black people. I thought they liked that name. I thought that was a term of endearment. I swear
well,
I did."
you should be a lot smarter than that.
That's
But
right.
that's the problem these days. But there's enough liberals that also don't exactly like the whole woke idea that you
Well,
have.
nobody who's unaware likes being told that they have to be aware. What, I got to
Right.
be aware? I don't want to be aware. I want to just blunder through life at my own speed and my own pace, and I don't want any trouble from anybody, especially from you.
That's the price you pay for the internet, right?
That's the price.
That's the price. You want to know what price you're paying for that internet besides the $55 a month that you're getting soaked in cash?
But what
You're
about this? What about this guy who said he was going to fix my Amazon account? He
two
didn't do it.
weeks. Two
Yeah,
weeks. Everything is 2 weeks. Trump's going to have the health plan fixed in 2 weeks.
he's going to have it. You're going to be able to read it, hold it in your hand, and enjoy it.
You'll be able to get rid of Obamacare and start in with Trump Care, where you just don't pay the bill.
Provided by Trump University.
Yes, you just don't pay the bill.
Yeah,
That's all.
that's
You
it.
go to
That's
the
all.
hospital, you get treated, they give you the bill, and you say thank you, and you leave, and you don't go there again. You go to another hospital.
The world according to Trump, the world that we have accepted as normal now. It's normal that people will tell you lies. The internet will lie to you. Your friends will lie to you. Your boss will lie to you. The news will lie to you. There's no place to get the truth except through Donald Trump. He's the only source of authority, and he won't tell you much because he's eating a cheeseburger right now.
Well, I don't know that I trust. I mean, I think we're back to where we were in the '60s, Michael, where you don't trust any politicians because a politician will tell you anything to either get out of a situation or get your vote. They'll
Same thing
tell
with
you
him.
anything to be able to walk away from you without you screaming at them. They'll tell you anything to appease you, and then never do anything on it. Now, I've dealt with politicians that run both ways. Whatever they tell you, you can bank on it, and there's some that whatever they tell you, they're lying. Their lips are moving, so they're lying.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
right.
not just Republicans; it's Democrats, Republicans. It's just the state of politics today.
I think it's the type of person who wants to be in politics, who's just thinking that they keep moving. They're just a moving target. You'll never get them.
Well, we stop demanding truth.
The problem is they got to walk down the hall in the Congress sooner or later, and somebody's going to grab them. Senator, what about the flibbertigibbet? Never heard of it.
Yeah,
It's in your it's in your.
it's crazy that this George Santos is not
He's
only
still there. He's still
got
there.
elected, but he's talking about his reelection campaign. He's already he's already like thinking about his reelection.
And the odd thing is, he's not a real person. We don't know who George Santos is. We don't know where the money came from. How come they can't follow? They can follow Donald Trump's money, but they can't follow George Santos $700,000. I just want to know where that came from.
I don't know. That's the mystery of all time to me is how you can't figure out where this guy's money came from. I mean, the IRS can figure out if you missed a tax payment. The local government can figure out if you're behind the payment on your property taxes. Why can't we figure out as a government with all the investigative tools at their disposal?
George, where'd you get that money? And whatever he tells you is going to be a lie. So that eliminates that line of inquiry.
Andy Sipowicz would get it out of him.
Andy Sipowicz.
Andy Sipowicz would sit George Santos down in a room and have it in 10 minutes. Andy
I like Andy.
Sipowicz
Andy Sipowicz and his drip dry shirts.
and his drip.
His drip dry short sleeve dress shirts.
It's where Jim Jordan got it from. He wants to be the
Yeah.
Andy Sipowicz of
Got a
of
long way to go.
Congress.
Got a long way to go, Mr. Ohio.
Well, Mikey, I know we got on late today because of internet problems, and we dropped it somewhere in the middle because of internet problems. But
we picked it up.
we picked it up when the internet problems went away.
Picking them up and putting them down.
It's an amazing deal, pal.
I'll see you Monday. We'll have a morose, miraculous Monday at 10:10.
Yeah, let's do Monday at 10:10 or thereabouts, and we'll get together. We'll have some fun, and we'll hopefully have solved all the problems of the world this weekend.
We'll drink some creamy liqueur and have what do they eat with the corned beef? I guess mashed potatoes.
Oh, cabbage. Oh no, cabbage.
Cabbage and potatoes. Well, okay, boiled potatoes for me, please.
Boiled potatoes and cabbage. Oh, with some good mustard. Oh man. Oh, it's Friday.
As a Californian, I would have put hot sauce on there, but that's okay. Habanero sauce. Woohoo! Habanero, baby. Now you're Irish.
I put good mustard on it, man. It tastes. Oh my God. I want some corned beef and cabbage now.
I'll go with mustard. Let's be traditionalists.
That's why I have hash and eggs, and I ask for mustard, and they look at me like, mustard on eggs? Yeah, try it.
Yeah, give it a go. It couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt you.
All right, Pally. See you on Monday if the Lord's willing, the creek don't rise.
All right. Have some. I don't know how we're going to drink Jewish wine on St. Patrick's Day, but all bets are off. So why not?
It's O Manischewitz to peace, love, and O Manischewitz.
Oh, what a wino!
See you, man. And thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like us, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll catch up with you on Monday. Don't forget tomorrow morning at 8, drive time, right here on this very same YouTube channel and on the radio and podcast and everywhere else. Take care of yourselves now. Bye-bye.